Why haven't we seen an FZero game?
Yeah, I'm gonna start the video like that. Hey everyone, this is BZK back with a more condensed game essay. And my question is, and probably a common one for the veteran Nintendo fan, why hasn't there been an F-Zero game for some time now? F-Zero, quite possibly the most high-octane racing franchise to exist, had its roots on the SNES and prolonged its career up until 2004 with the release of F-Zero GP Legend for the Game Boy Advance. The games were critical darlings at the time of their launch and have retained cult status until this day. I say cult status because these sale figures don't lie. The franchise within its lifetime has only grossed just barely over 5 million units worldwide. Since 04, we've only been seeing F-Zero sightings pop up in other titles, like Captain Falcon continuing his reign of Falcon punches in Super Smash Bros., Nintendo Land's little F-Zero minigame, and even the incorporation of the Big Blue and Mute City tracks, plus the chance to drive the Blue Falcon in Mario Kart 8. Honestly, Nintendo, we appreciate the small cock teases you've been pulling off for the last 14 years, but come on, what's the real reason? Well, in 2012, an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto surfaced regarding the future of F-Zero at the time of release for the Wii U, and he stated, "Since the first episode of SNES, many games have been made, but the series has evolved very little. I thought people had grown weary of it. I am also very curious, and I'd like to ask those people, why F-Zero? What do you want that we haven't done before?" Now, that's an understandable point coming from the man who helped produce several of the most popular video game franchises on the planet. What can you really change that's different in a racing game of all genres, especially one that's as hyperbolic in its presentation as F-Zero? Well, from the many racing games that I've experienced playing in my lifetime, there's plenty you can change to F-Zero's formula that may not be entirely new in the grand scheme of things, but hey, at least the F-Zero franchise could finally take a crack at it. Take, for example, what The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild did to its formula. There have existed plenty of open-world sandboxes and RPG titles ranging from Grand Theft Auto to Skyrim to even fucking Minecraft. The idea of open-world games at one point was beaten to death like a dead horse, but Nintendo made sure to stray away from the path and create an open-world adventure title like no other. In Breath of the Wild, you can climb any wall, soar any distance, chop any tree, and defeat any enemy with what little or how much you have on you. People have speedruns of the game, clocking in under an hour, with Link charging Ganon in his fucking tidy whities, holding a goddamn twig, and have won. You can't get any more expansive in an open world as that. But the point I'm trying to make is that Breath of the Wild was taking an old concept within and adding new life to it, changing the formula from its predecessors and creating something fresh. Other racing titles year after year, like Need for Speed, have tried to change things up with every single installment, and it got to a point where enough was enough. I remember being hyped for Need for Speed The Run back in 2011, being introduced to a Cannonball Run-esque story with awesome cars and breathtaking set pieces. But the game fucking tanked, and it tanked hard. Long-ass loading times, online and offline, a short-ass campaign clocking in under 3 hours, and the blandest voice acting I've ever heard since Resident fucking Evil. Christina Hendricks, you've done better than this. You were Chesty the Bestian Madman. What happened to you? Pardon me for that. But like I was saying, F-Zero could benefit where Need for Speed couldn't, simply for the fact that we haven't been bombarded with games year after year from the franchise. We can take it slow, build some hype for the fans, show them that they can do way more for the franchise than previous installments, and it doesn't have to be something that F-Zero created itself, but rather borrowed and improved from other titles from the industry. Let's start with customization. If Forza Motorsport and Horizon have taught us anything, is that vehicle customization is essential if you want to have the player engrossed with creativity and make them feel like they can further implement themselves into a game. For the next F-Zero game, why not try incorporating a similar fashion of vehicle customization with decals and paint jobs and custom designs printed all over a player's vehicle? Obviously, being Nintendo, some restriction has to apply with what a player can plaster onto their ride, so then maybe we can incorporate a small flagging system that removes explicit designs that may gross out or disturb some players. Yeah, it may seem restrictive, but it can be there as an option rather than something automatically implemented that the developers control. But let's not stop at visual design. No. How about we get some full-out vehicle body customization too? How awesome would it be just to create your own ride from scratch? I mean, it would be more plausible than Forza, considering that those games are loaded with licensed cars and with limited resources for body parts. The game can provide hundreds of body designs and parts to let us experiment with, or even a shape your own vehicle mode where we can say, fuck conventional rules, if I can race down the racetrack in a toilet, so be it. It'd be more reasonable in a game like F-Zero because, I mean, come on, have you seen the cars in these games? They ain't fucking street legal, I'll tell you that much. Now, considering the franchise's overblown and crazy nature, the amount of tracks won't really matter, as long as we can get some sort of create-your-own track mode. Much like Super Smash Bros. Had its stage creator, even considering all of Super Mario Maker, creating a track in an F-Zero game can be hell of a lot of fun with the right amount of inspiration. Just provide us with the same set pieces and track designs we've seen throughout the series, and the players at that point can make the game themselves. I'd also like to bring up the option of creating your own character. Even the simplest of games nowadays have incorporated this function, albeit in some cases more limited than a multiplayer Star Wars game. But it'd be pretty cool to see us creating a likeness for ourselves to use in-game. Not many racing games have this option, considering that most of the time playing you'll be staring more at the back of their head than anything else, but it'll still add some personal flair to the player's gameplay and can even function in an online sense. And oh yeah, the multiplayer. Fuck yeah! If at any point Nintendo needed to step their game up when it came to online functionality, it would have to be for a game like this. Just imagine having tournaments with races having up to 30 players, blasting off from the starting line, letting everyone show off their sick and maybe sadistic creations, crashing into each other on a track that was user-created. Imagine having a tier system or a level progression for the player's online persona that unlocked neat new cars and bonus characters that are not locked behind a fucking paywall. Also, we can't forget about local multiplayer. Oh, no. Having 4 players split screen, dashing through the courses at lightning fast speeds. Yeah, it'd probably give you a fucking seizure and with a slight chance of reaching one's self-worth of max euphoria, but holy shit would it be awesome. All of Nintendo's efforts would have to be put into the multiplayer of a new F-Zero game, and shit, if they managed to pull it off, we'd have probably the best online experience from a Nintendo game since, well, fucking ever. Aside from the multiplayer functions, I'm sure we'd also like to see a decent single-player campaign or mode given to us if, we didn't have any friends to play with. It doesn't have to be a heart-wrenching story or some sort of major plot twist a la M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. To be completely honest, I think the F-Zero franchise could benefit from some self-aware, post-ironic plot development that could poke fun at a lot of cliches we've seen in video game plots for the past decade. Maybe we could see some anime influence with over-exaggerated character expressions in cutscenes or in the dialogue to give not just the story, but even the game some extra boost in personality. Honestly, Nintendo should go all out and make an F-Zero story and game that's batshit insane to match the high-speed nature of its gameplay. Now, I'd lastly like to point out that, yeah, the F-Zero franchise isn't necessarily meant for all audiences. Cars going so fast they break land speed records, and a soundtrack akin to a Metallica concert won't really win families over quite well. Especially since the last game we saw was released before we even saw the light of day for the Wii and Wii U, which did have, for the most part, an abundance of family-friendly titles. But hey, if games like Mad World, No More Heroes 2, House of the Dead Overkill, and even some Resident Evil games can be released on these types of consoles and still sell well in the developer's point of view, there is no reason why F-Zero couldn't have made at least a small return to the 7th generation. Thankfully, the Switch has been a great product financially and has had a much better focus on delivering games for more of the modern audience, rather than targeting players from age 5 to age 95. But yeah, that's what I think Nintendo should do about the franchise that certainly deserves some new life in the industry. Hopefully one day with the success of the Switch, Nintendo can pump out a quality title in the F-Zero franchise and show that, yeah, the series did deserve the attention it's been getting in recent memory. For the time being, we have games like Fast RMX that provide us with the high-octane speed we saw from the series in its heyday, but nothing can beat the sheer energy F-Zero gave us and will hopefully deliver to us once more. This is BZK, and I'll see you guys next time.